With supreme signs, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the three worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Saviour having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of mirror with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three ever devout homage. To all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foul faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 15. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagavan was dwelling on massive Ulchas mountain in Rajgriha, together with a vast community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perfection. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya of Vichvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya of Vichvara: how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya of Vichvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odour, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. No eye element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance and no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell on the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared: Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagawan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you've indicated. Even the Tadakas rejoice. The Bhagawan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharavataputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with a world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised it spoken by the Bhagawan. Short mandala, page 25. Saji poke
Juji Neta Tam Parira Nimchi Nide Kempomati Sangye Shinda
Drokonam Dagjing La Chopasho Jetsun Lama Dampa King Chokukala Kensi Trinjing Jada Sampe Dojezin Mala Zakye Choke Chapa Bhaktu Edam
Guru
Guru Mandala
Mahatmanam
Kamriyatayami
Chadan Suchi Cholan Choncho Wadu Taini Chapsuchi Jinzu Jipe Tsumchi
Chola Pinchu Sange Drupasho Sange Cholan Soke Cholama
Chandro Ado Taini Chipsuchi Tagri Jinji Jipe Tsumchi
Chola Pinchu Sange Drupasho Sange Cholan Soke Cholama
Chandro Badu Taini Chapsuchi Tagri Jinji Jipe Tsumchi
Chola Pinchu Sange Drupasho
Godam de la Jaze lo Chadon Kuli Janoga Samba Sanjeta. Kalakande Tela de Demba, the Bajeres and La Chase lo Bandenza Lamar Moch. Dage Jiro Bende Dijone, Gonijimbe Gonijos on the Goson to Jimo do so. 당저 군원시 검접 단들 람림 다 전주 람림 딩데 대과 준비 추기다 닝부 또도 닝부로 보지 람지림 바 안단당 알아서다 럽전 치프 심바데 레게 거리 와다도 렌데지 거도 단들 람림도 나라 베 닝지 쉬지 송고도 알아 기사 레게 슝자 심보지 투기 중화데 여성분이 세상 데려와대 아니 라니 지구고 돈다치 많이 봐. 라는 거든지 이세대 파마니 조르주 SMG 시민 탐제를 편법 바시 도야시 돼. 아니 저기 년바다 삼바다 공바치기 스메 군론데. 아니 신비행기 전주심지 군론지 심바지. 예바도 고요 레스 삼단 쇼스라.
Yes. First, adopting the. Can everyone hear? Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. First, adopting the correct motivation that one will listen to this middle length Lamrim, which is the great vehicle of the Mahayana, which essentially expresses the steps of the path of which we are studying about karma, or the law of cause and effect, which is very well expressed in this text. In that context, we need to understand how special it is to meet with such a teaching, some kind of holy, precious teaching, how fortunate. And in that context, listening not just for oneself, but solely to benefit all the sentient beings who have been dear to one, like the parents of this life. So conjoining the mind with the beneficial intention of bodhicitta, one will hear and reflect on this teaching.
아야 다 가고 건와 하나 주팅 다단데 주제데 이제 최 년야다 최 지역의 국가 요원다 교상 뭐 쉬어지로 와 세상 니디 난네다 람림딘데 최 자춘 부진 연구 중화데 국가 요원 진전 가고 그랬으라.
Rejoicing that again today we have the chance to listen and reflect on this special teaching, the Lamrim, this precious teaching. It is a good opportunity, rejoicing in that.
어야다 기생 아마 주변나 시리 아주 레스야디 낭바산지베다 따르기나네야 조직 차게 요래 다 레스 타녀에다 따르면지 다 레스야디 나란저 단당 나란저 디두녀야 도상마 레게 되고 임버려와 당바 단당 마무지 직 녀신바데 레게 되고 아니 단당 안주야 지 갈래 잡네 지 개와서야다 다 디바다 개와니가 서고 요러 저기야고 다 니가 지야디 마음벨레 되고 달레기 뭐디 심중 셈바 셰바 인자 셰하고 요래로 봐 당아주 레기 규 마고지 하고 요래 아니 데우 마고지 간주 하고 요래 다 도나 마체르미지 뒤주 도나 지기나 간주게 레기 규와 규삭바디 하고 요래 아니 레고란다 하고 가고 요래다 셰바 손자 셰바스야데 무슨 가고로 왔고 미기 토하요 말에 수시요 말에 입이요 말에 토야요 말에 매자 아니 딩두 체리기다 셰바데 무슨 가고 차야 돼. 그때 체제사요 말에 속 말아 아니 되게 시작하고 차고 여러 내용을 다 되우데 맞아 망고지 되부탄다 망고지 토야요 망고지데 레기 되우 레기 주다 되우니데 먼저 릭지 맞아 무슨 그 통고 열어서 봐.
Now, as was mentioned previously, causality, the law of cause and effect, expresses the essence of the view in Buddha Dharma. And, we give the designation karma or causality, behavioral cause and effect, to that which we experience, whether it be pleasurable or non-pleasurable. In terms of the result, it's something we will experience. Secondly, all of the various actions we're engaged in now that we put effort into from a motivational point of view, positive or negative, in the future, they will be experienced. So, but karma itself, in terms of it being an entity, is very hard to see because it is like a consciousness. It's the mental factor of intention. So, to some extent, causally and on a resultant level, if we put effort in or interest into it, we can recognize karma. But karma itself is difficult to see because it has no form, no shape, no like color. It is a consciousness. And because it has no gross form, its entity being consciousness, it's difficult to recognize. However, sometimes when we pay attention, the result we can see in terms of cause and effect as well.
다 랜데스데 다 레당 레기 되고 레 준데 세야데 준데 남샤 짐바라바 난기 준데 다디 지금지ኛ래 배낭 알아서 칭오볼레나 사메마담나 야다 두마담나 두지기도 테마담나 테마지기도 와 근데 테마 배낭서 구슈 신도 구슈로 있다위나 데라 아니 마야 구슈 동보델라 구시다가도 메시지게 네 pov야다 근데 신도신다 따그면도 와 코 규데라야 년龄 규직다 현지시 연시제 다 낭바이나 규데라 여원이 치가 오래 년龄 규다 현지시 연시제다 년龄 규세데 그 제중오조 마지 제중오 마지 돈이들라 변화 신도 구슈긴 제그로라 메도그 선지요로 되고 년龄 규로와 다들라 추단 류단 트단 도도 상마 아니 거기 현지시 연로와 데데 칭오보기 균대 남샤데다 단들 렌데 남샤데 로단데 지구직장이 뭐래서와
No. So now in terms of karma or cause and result, there's of course the inner workings of it and the outer workings of it. In terms of the outer workings of it, we can look at it in the context of a seed and the crop. So a wheat seed results in a wheat crop, and pea seeds result in peas. Very much similarly, if you plant an apple seed, of course, the trunk and flowers and fruit of the tree will be apple, not other. So we can also look in terms of, from the perspective of Buddha Dharma, there's a substantial cause and a cooperative condition. So when we look at the substantial cause of a flower, that would be the seed, and the cooperative conditions are those things that support the maturation of that substantial cause of seed. So like water, moisture, earth, and so forth. So these outer workings of cause and effect are very similar to inner.
akbenangazo kisin le ngewe tsudi shes mure le ngewa saade ene gewaji chena dewu dewa yungue wadi ngewares migewa chena dewu dunge wadi ngewares wa ta ina dela ya le ngewa sa ngewa ngewa da ngewa mangewa sa ngewa dela ane pena dewu pena da nami ngewa sa ro ta nge dan dela wa ni ji lege da dewu dan dela damendo mangoje yungu yora ngewa sa ta le peche wa sa de 니버데 le peche wa sa de ane dewu chunju jigle ane ju chunju jigle dewu pe nega mangu pe ro ya de yores pena ngaranzo neg du kanjila de ne yani jedinde ro mage se ro kon go de sit jigne ane kon be yani yabe sumje shibjedinde ya dewu ju jigle de ne dewu tumma pe ba de chigi 균lela de ne ngazo ha고 도 다디나시 말한저 심기로와 심기 개와지기 아니 다 개외게 레지글 되네 데부베데 개원에 개와 녀야 되려와 데부베 개원에 개와 녀야 되는데 말한저 수베 냠네 베나 수베 냠네 지 공부이나 아니 베 개와 망보 베 미디 직속제보 개월렌 돼야 되려와 미 개와 뭐야니 지 시미로질레네야 지 신다마도 닝지고 통해 닝지고 통해서 미 가부치야 들어봐 미 가부치는 닝지고 세그로 하 인지민지 그 주의시다 될 고고면도 나 수베 냠랭게 되고 수베 냠랭 찍고바디기 되고 틴데게 네베 남이 망고 껴와 망고라야 녀야 아니 짐바 네게 찍다와 되게 롱줘야 돼서 배 꾸노 시중 그베 저다메 녀 투야 되는데 연구요라 제단디 le peche was de yujila de ne dewu tuma yungue waji yores de le peche was at the shegi yores ro
Last week, we also talked about the fact that karma is certain. So from virtuous actions, well-being is the result. From non-virtuous actions, suffering is the result, and this is certain. And within that context, of course, there are variations. For example, karma that is certain to be experienced, meaning that all the conditions are there and will ripe, and then those which are less certain to be so. Then we look at the second of these attributes of karma, which is that karma increases. So we can also look at this from the external point of view, that from, for example, a small seed of wheat, a great crop can be harvested, or from a corn seed, from just one corn seed, 40 or 50 corns can be produced in a continuum. So it is similar like that. For the mind, one small virtuous action can have results over many lifetimes, from lifetime to lifetime. So, for example, if one practices patience, one can be good looking over many lifetimes. And this can be humans, dogs, or cats being beautiful. And when we say beautiful, it doesn't mean that necessarily you're attractive, but just that people like you, like to look at you. So in short, one inner action can have many results. It is the same, for example, generosity, the wish to give, that you engage in a generous action, and from that one cause, the results continue and are many.
네 ngaranzo 나 총을 그날에 된대 요래 배나 수수 지에 꿀론 상부지 돈에 아니 미질 편도 제와 이나래 아니 지조질 총과질 편도 제와 이나래 미교로질 편도 제와 이나래 야 튠루 교로질 편도 제와 이나래 된대게 지 꿀론을 해 매워지지와 레와로 레도로 지가 매워 돈에 꿀론데 장마장장 지게네 팬도진데 제윤디 되게 계획이 되게 다 디네가기 겨워디 누가게 수수 메즈 권한나라야 당하라 메즈디나라 딘데레가 야고지 지유충소서 가도 삼는다나 심나라 가난지에 오냐 지요로 다라래다 다라래 레 자와치기 메즈 권한베 가도 삼는다나 이제 삼로 커버잠지 수수 심나라 아당하라 메지데나라 덴데지게 지규총하디 야고 인삼제 삼로 커버전지 심나라 가나다 지페 도나요한데 용구도 어디 개외 데우스야디 네 데와스야디 데르와다 개와직 제발되네 데우 데와 숙청부 연구를 해서야디 아니 당버르도 지 잔주그 셈서를 데지 고면도 베 아니 데와 가와 쇼웨직 로덥디 리기 여러와 닝지 해미 닝지지 끼운데 심라 로덥다 가와다 휴지 계계요래 닝지 데 세상 나서 닝지 데 남바 산제베 닝지 데 로덥진이 닝지 셰고르면서 다 하나서 닝지 세야 돼 책도 과다베 라면도 쉬지 도와셔도 세상에 단단 낭백 원에 닝지 세야게 단다데 아니 닝지 배 바로 동에 통도 딜라 메스네 데 동에 텐도게 로덥지 수술을 주레 도고도나 띵닝지 좀 차고와 다 대매외 체제 바로 동에 통제 딜라야 직배 아니 메스베 넘버지 레인데 아니 데 초와지 레를 메시지게 데 닝지 세고 말와 초와지 레
Okay.
바로 동에 요나 신직 수술을 초월레인데 수술 초월레를 메시지게 데 닝지 말와 그래서 망보직 단다 책도서 배 툭제 대도 와 툭제 닝지다 초와도 툭 그봐 네 초와다 닝지 배도 나가로 하셔서 닝지 써야 돼 제월에 초와 써야 돼 영화지래 근데 제상 그 영화데 그걸로도 지야스게 요 말하고 이제 제와스니데 로도 지인데고요 여러 제상도 단 항배슝 장기나 근데 편도 전부 열다 이와 숙전부 열에서
Now, the factor of karma from one action can come results. One can see it by one's experience in this life. If you have like a clean motivation with no help, with no sense of self, getting something back, if you set out with a good intention to benefit others, whether it be in society, helping the poor, helping animals that need food or whatever, or helping at the Dharma Center, that very cause, in terms of it being a virtue, has a potency. And that can be experienced in this life, that we have a sense of joy and we have a sense of joy and delight in those good virtuous actions we've done, and we bring that forth. We're joyful around it, or it's like a taste of delight around it. So from here, we can see that from virtuous actions, the strong sense of well-being or bliss ensues. Moreover, when we talk about a mind conjoined with great compassion, or the mind of bodhicitta, concern for others' welfare, this gives a tremendous courage, because the great compassion gives strength. Here, we have to understand from the context of Buddha Dharma what compassion means, what the word compassion means. And here, the compassion is something that gives one courage and willpower. We can look at the word compassion from many different angles. There are many different meanings, but certainly from the perspective of Buddha Dharma, compassion means that when you see others go through suffering, although you can't bear to see those beings suffer, you have the courage to handle it. You can bear it because you have courage. Whereas if you understand compassion just to be like a feeling, if you see others suffering, then you can't bear it. You'll get down about it. So those are just feelings. They're not really compassion. So it's very important that we clear up these misunderstandings between the real meaning of compassion, great compassion, which means the superior thought. I myself will bring this about, which is courageous, and then just having a feeling, which is more limited. And this is why we need to study Buddha Dharma, to make this strong clarity and demarcation. Nos.
Oh yeah, that beje je ta sho arwa, beje ta sho ni ba. Shodan di beje phuwa di jada ngab jing aji simet. Ni ba le gewa chungu le debu dewa chimbo chung sirwa. Le gewa jezan ta tangi shen ba le gewa chungu ji le debu dewa chimbo chung ya de yores. Tangi ngara zo besha de na shi de da ane tanda kasore. Shenbenji logic 수술에 로 니마직 니마니 추즈 망보 대화용대요 안 텔레하고다 지 장주기 심 닝지기 사면체와 닝지 전부 개와들라 때네 니 신도 장주 심게 안 사줄람지도 안 타나 산제 이고마 대화 첨부된데 용화용 거요래 다도저데 타르 물어봐 다도나 나란즈 삼르다마디 아니 밀라 펜도치야 이나레 당기 콘디 쉐브나지 딘데레 베나 디 가서래 개와 충우스도 개와 충우질래 대와 자첨보 용거래 쉐브디 아니 개벨레 충우직 베나 단다디 개와 아쇼카르와 킹 아쇼카게 아니 개와 디 코지길 산제 코지길 오나 개와 아쇼카디 부구지기 겨울에 보고 준주시 맞죠. 되게 미상마다 산제를 선유 보고 인자네 부글라도 클래스게 말아. 그런 게 산제를 홍색이 나나 제마 부이자도. 그래서 이 칼라에 뭐 뭐지 제마 부이자도. 다 제마 딘데게 소남 되게 아니 단단 잠불링라야 아니 겨우 아쇼가게 세게 최대 아니 지워직 샤인에서 그러 밀린직로 지워직 샤인에서 그러 대선함데 어디되게 다직 제마 바루칸 홍세나라 표버되게 제매 장한다 냠베 아니 개와티게 세그 추데 아니 지워직 샤야든데 총어레스 아니 대자마세 과란다베 콜레지에 교원나시 차제베 아니 샤다 디네가블라 다 저런 디 제럽신 예제이나 하고라 킹아쇼가스 됐다 딘데갑들라 야가레 베레 단다스딘데 타일랜드레 디연도 와다 버그스덴다 아프가니스탄 디연도 제다 상마 칼로 주네 네 타마들 배 추게 신사를 쇠도 와로
Mhm.
다딩자 킹 아쇼가나 이제 레고도 추 제워지 레고도 추 제워지 레고도 스타 로
So now let's look at the text under the heading that karma greatly increases. So for even a small virtuous karma, there arises the effect of enormous happiness, while even from a non-virtuous karma, there arises effect of enormous suffering. So this is the case, and if we can see this if we do actions that are motivated with kind heart, more specifically with the motivation of great compassion or bodhicitta, we know that those actions will have a great result in terms of grounds and paths. The result being the maturation of fully awakened Buddhahood, whilst that might be a bit far at the current juncture. When we set out to help others, just those small, well-intentioned acts can have big results. If we look at the example of King Ashoka, when he was a child and Buddha and his retinue would go for alms to receive offerings to eat, then King Ashoka as a child gave a handful of sand into Buddha's alms bowl, begging bowl, and because of that action was able to build in this world chewa chikribe saya chikra 1 million 100,000 pijimbere 100,000 or hundreds of thousands of golden stupas, as many as there were grains of sand that were in the begging bowl. So that it enabled Ashoka to have like the status of a world-turning emperor or a world-turning king. So those of you who read these accounts will understand how such activity spread India, Tibet, Thailand, Pakistan. These days we need a world-turning king, right?
다 레 미게와 중을레 장 데우 둥에 춤보 중야던데 용거레스와
Yeah.
내다 안한서 밀리아 칙줍직 마와 잠게 와 칙줍 마웨이나 당일에 자와 치마다데 셰우면도 봐 안한서 수수마기베 차가도와 아니 미마기베 차가도와 아니 되게 칙줍 되게 미망고 마기베 서제 아니 대마지부 마세 수수에 배대 저와 디고란라야 아니 배 마지베체 대고야던데 제산직 칙줍 찍찍고게 아니 데브디 세다가라라 수수 가두상다나 마지베체 대고야 미 바로에 있네 마가오 차려야 미가 바로 마가오 차도 먼저 수이나 수수 약보직 대뉴 두고요 아니 미 수수래야지 가보마잖아 아니 수수 마지베체야 마지베체 칙줍디게다 데브로바 데브 둥에 슈 전부 용하던데 다든데기 루주든데 망고 요래로 산제 셰슈비 내가라 아니 미지기다 산제 년도 고라야 칙주 마발 때네 아니 추싱하고로 추싱이 겨와 망고 렘벨 루주셔요 칙주디베 추싱 소보디 동에 미상마 셰르니시도 제가 칙주게 아니 직배 직 동에 용야든데 용거 여러 제가 당연하죠. 닝제고고이나 칙주 방고 그래서 공부 제가 미게외래 중국질에 장 되부동에 중보 아디제는 제 소주글에도 제바다 근데 제발을 때네 아니 직배 냐와 제발로 거여로든데다 간다 냐와다 레 유시당에 세대게 수수게 직마주 망보지 수수게 자와 아니 직직두자 마야로 땅 뉴스 낙심 제야로 된데다 소제로보다 된데 되네다 수수마지와 차야 된데 세들라 유다 요심바래도 와디 다디 무슨 통야 먹어도 알아.
And commensurately from small non-virtuous actions, displeasure or suffering experiences ensue. Like, for example, if we speak harshly to other, so let's let aside past lives, not even talking about past lives, just that harsh speech upsets others' minds, the result of which we can experience in this life just harsh speech because it leaves you with an uneasy feeling, but it also upsets others under the context that both we and others need to feel good with each other, we need harmony. So one can see the direct result of suffering in terms of cause and effect. And then, of course, historical cases to support this, those that criticized the practitioners or Sangha, as was stated by the Buddha, the direct result of that harsh speech was to be born many lifetimes as like a sea monster or a crocodile with many heads. So really what this is highlighting is that harsh speech results in an ugly form. And for us, we want to be attractive and good looking. So we need to abandon speaking harshly to others and try to cultivate patience. So let alone going into these direct maturational results of the lower realms and hells and so forth, just in this life, we can see the detrimental results of harsh speech and so forth. Nas.
근데 달래 미고 중을에 두두는 신이죠. 난게 준대기 페다스. 다 준대를 난게 준대단 치 준대 니인 거와. 당연히 치 준대세데 치로 뭐보다 예도 들어와. 상마치 나중에서 통고도 치 준대. 준대 망고지 무슨 통고 여러 와. 가서도 통받아서 대 주리셔 대 데버리셔서 신tum네 야고 여러 와. 배나 치기 네 메당라드네 도와요 여러 와. 메당만드네 도와요 여러 와던데다. 다든데 망보지 아니 마음에도 순지다나 야메도 제용고요 왔다 좀 무슨 그 통고도 하들라 빼 김쟁고 따고 밀게지 되면도 그 무슨 그 통용보다 따제시도 팅듀기다 세리도 하네 치 준데라 따제시네 빼시라게 메도 준주그 순지를 때네 메도데 치중 그거제 차기 유메 메도 가져 샤기 유메 아니 주링도 가져 되게 유메 차상 건조 리서치는 따제 체제 등산 수연직 안에 대부 컨대 연구에 시기도 유딜은 유치기 유딜로 다이나 단당한즈와 규칙이 깨워 망볼라 동행요야다 규칙이 깨워 망볼라 디지요야게 남샤게 피드딘데데 나그 준데게 피드디 치 준데라 딘데요 말해서와 그런 대부리 눈치 깨바다가는 저어 메시지기 규칙이 배 깨워든데 도야 배 깨워 코란도 깨워다 파죠 깨워든데 파죠 배나 다자 돈바샤 유튜버데 네 산제 거지단 수도 산제 우순이 가돌라네 시기 통화 표현서거라 인서라 시기 통화 표현의 찬주심 계제 아니 신도 되네마다 뭐마즈바 산제와다 배나 단다 제rum보체데 네 다자 돈바샤 유튜브에 내가라 다자도 마셔주도 வர야 시기 통화 편이 찬주심 계와다 딘데게 다 디바르라 로 가져 도 잘해와 지난 딘데게 PDB네 규칙에 네 깨워 망볼라 동행요야 규칙이 저 망볼라 디지요야 깨워 다가스 깨워 잔이야 그러면 깨워 동다 트다 깨워 점불링디 베직니 점불링디 세션 나도 세션 저거 레디 점불링 신다 그때는 용거야 된대 용거로 어딘데 나기 준대기 필요된데 디나시 치료 준대를 요 말해서 어디 송거
So talking about the karma greatly increasing, particularly with regards to the workings of the inner causality, cause and effect, particularly with regards to that, how it greatly increases. As I mentioned, with regards to the outer cause and effect, it is good for us to look at this and observe. So, for example, when we see a fire, we can see smoke come from that fire. This is not something we need to ask about. We can directly see with our cognition, with our validity, with our experience. And also from a seed, a flower seed, we can see that what results is a flower with its various attributes. And in the modern sense, scientists study this and know it well. They research such things and know them well. You know, what kind of shape, color, and so forth this flower seed will result in. However, in terms of the inner workings of the increase of karma, one virtuous actions can result over a series of many lifetimes, not even to mention lifetimes, but also kalpas. Those causes will not go to waste. And this is something that the law of outer cause and effect does not have in terms of increase. You know, there's a limit to this ze, or substance, means that at one time it will be exhausted. For example, in terms of Shakyamuni Buddha, in his previous life, at the time of the previous Buddha Kashyapa, he offered a rosary to that Buddha, and then, in dependence on that, generating the bodhicitta mind and so forth, and also with Lama Tsongkhapa himself offering a crystal rosary to Shakyamuni Buddha. With that, again, generating altruism, and between offering that rosary to Buddha and Lama Tsongkhapa coming and attaining those insights, how many years between? So we can see then from a causal level in terms of well-being, one small action going over a vast period of time, and it's the same with causes in terms of non-virtuous actions resulting in suffering over a vast period of time. It is said that even, for example, from that one action, even were the world to dissolve, this world system to, abide and then dissolve, will be no more, the causes that we have created could still remain and fruit in the future. So what's being said is that the inner workings of karma have these qualities and attributes that the outer do not. That's all.
다디야 촘레스 데송도 디과 충무 제외자 직된 바로 직진당 풍류 정보 지규의 공부 소외 도시는서 당저 디과 미게벨레 다 디과사데 뇌베란 신들 다 디비에 디비에 유디 가래서는 아주 다지 직준 참아 지종 아제 소주지야다 바르벌라다 바르벌 뇌베란 신데 뭐다 유네 뇌베란 신기 레지나 자와지나 디과랬다 코데오시나 델렌데 남샤데 디비에 좀 미게와사데 셰샤위나 바르벌라다 란레 셴베다 가는 뭐다 유베 바르벌라 동에 무식 주스는 깨워지니 다 수술을 내내 대 디버바다 로와 수술에 sem진지레 대로와 수술을 내벨에 가지 수술체는 수술 마기버서야 돼 수술 제위나 뒤에 디버바 근데게 디버 충분지기로와 디버 충분지기 직된 바로 직전 당스 다 직된 바로 직된 그 감신다 바로보다 아니 등외 첨본용고 풍류 첨보스 등 알아서 상상을 내주 담아시고 숙청부 쇼들의 연대거든요. 쇼부지 풍류 첨보스도 쇼부지 연대해야 돼. 미신을 넣어게 미신을 넣어베 대부게 수술을 총을해서 인상다 신을 넣어베란 신기 미겨와데 콩베스베 도시는 수술 코베나라 도지 칭이나 다 두디 파도야라 베전식으로 두디기 시로와 두디마다는 시로와 디나시네 딘데게 심 엠바데 아니 두나시 다파 빵고레스다 디간라 두지요 말해서 춘주지네야 아니 빵고레스 가시 다데 춘주를 개요 말했어요. 닉버스니데 데 딘데 지기요 말해 가서라 닉버트 춘주지는 야야야 닉버 춘주지기 대부 동에 먹으려야다. 닉버 춘주 망고 사제 전부 차려야 된대. 용거의 원자 다 딩베리 뇌베리 신유리 가리 이내다 간다가서 빵고 요레스 디빵 투비나 아니 개와 내 개와 미시 지야요 말아 아니 개와 제외 있나 아니 개와 되고 대화 용으로 하정하는 상문은 대화 동의면 되어 선상 디바 충분지네 다 디바 세대 곧 데스 칙디 레뷰게 찬에 샤윈자 뇌베란 신 레디게 다 지기요 말레스 랑단 신당 중국에서 유배 뇌베란 신지 차로고도나 다디 참샤고로 해서 왔다 돈다도 도도
Mm-hmm. So then, in terms of non-virtuous actions that can harm others, as indicated here with the collection of verses, even committing a small bad deed will result in great anxiety and great disasters in the future worlds, like poison seeping to the core. So from these non-virtuous actions, causally, we mention such as harsh speech, gossips, lies, slanders, and so forth. Really, the non-virtue by definition means that it is a type of action, karmic action, that harms or upsets other. It upsets them, but also it makes a difficulty for oneself. So we can include self-harm here. So non-virtue for you, because you are a sentient being, so that includes oneself. And once more back to the text, just saying that committing such small actions in the world results in the worldly example of like having poison in the stomach. If you have poison, then that can kill you. So in terms of that, the idea then is to get rid, or that is what is to be abandoned. So what is to be abandoned here is even a small non-virtuous action. Get rid of it, because even though it might be small, also if it's non-virtue, then it can become vast and it is to be abandoned. Because if slowly those non-virtues abandoned, then only virtues are left. And remember, in the context of this, because we do not wish to experience the result of that. We don't wish to suffer. We wish to be happy. So then, abandoning the non-virtues. In short, abandon even the smallest non-virtues. Give up harming others, as it says here. Even committing a little merit, and so forth. Yes.
다 소남 중의 제외 양 직된 바로 대전 전에서는 전전 다전 지유에 루는 표준 속바 루는 푼조 민버 신스라라 다 소남 중의지네 와 소남 중의선 개와라 와 다 등이 세우 나시리 레야 펜춘주직 토베이네야 되게 되부 빼다 미스니디 가스나나 아니 페조디 가스나나 아니 개외 로도디 수술라야 빼미 직된 파르드 대화침보 직된 파르스디 개와치마네 개와갑자 개와 동다 트다 개와신 된데래야 아니 대화 침보 지야된데 용거레스 된데게 네 선어 중의시디 대화 침보 용은 된전 다전 제주데스타 데르버 된전보레스 당라서 메지디나라 된치야데 가르스나 소남사이레스 소남사베나 네 대화 용거레스 다 소남사야데 가르스나 신변시야데레스 신라 편도시야데레스 대제도비나 아니 루나 무슨 소음이 마시나서 루드절라다 지금 뭐도절라네 지 차와다 추단 렌다도서 주푸슨 소고야 버지유도 대부 푸슨 소고 용거도 하테나 신가란서 개와 심데 메게베철로 마다마치 개베철로 당기이나 아니 지금 바로 개와 대단 개와 천만에 천만라네 대화 침보다 라라 디게 용거레스 라라 디게 요나 아니 신라야 편도거레스 제가 된데게 된 전부들이 땅아서 최고고 열에서 개vel에 최고고 열에서 전전 다연치 유대세 안에 다 개외 념년 춘주지네 최고고 열에서 오래
the second part or the second verse here highlighting that we should do virtue out of a kind heart. We should engage even the smallest virtues. Even committing a little merit in future worlds will bring great happiness, causing greatly meaningful things like grains that ripen to perfection. So even if we do just the smallest virtuous action, the crop, the result can be many in our future lives. So, and also in terms of this life, it's important that we create merits, essentially, by setting out to be of benefit and help others. So just as these outer things will mature like grains that ripen to perfection, they are supported by water, soil, and so forth to mature into the resultant crop. Similarly, with a mind that does not do virtue, but that does virtue, then in this lives and future lives, you will feel well-being. And when you get well-being, that's also that's virtue for others. You'll feel like being kind-hearted and essentially do good actions for others.
다드네 숨바디 레마체와다 미테세드레와
Mm-hmm.
당가라서 디두 뇨야라와 나서 세델라 둥에 뇨야다 세델라 디요야 다데 레기 데부시아제도 레기 데부시아데데 먼저 단다 뇨야 요젤로디 겨가메 레임비 겨야 말에 세디기 레 윤초고래 자와로 네 세델라 가란저게 아니 자와 야고지나 아니 델라딘데 드부 야고지 용어야 된데 열에 당주 윤지 일레세지 요 세델라 직 드부 직 디두 용제라 둥에 용어다 디기 요젤라 겨가메 레기 도임비 겨야 말에서와 제산 디뉴에 주르 네 레마사나 디드부 다 디두 용어 말에스다 간다 단당 알아서 대화 용어 둥에 용어 카레이나 야 딩이라 다 직수수게 자와직이나 로고야 한다 다디 닌지 민지 겨왕함에 인고에 개야 말다 세다가란 레요래 양 세델레 겨와야 말에 제 겨왕함에게 용거를 다디니 콜레야다 유 하자 렌데그 남샤데 하장게 띵사버래 나와 레디 지 베낭아란조 고나야로 지임비나 규진 가셔가지고 하고 오래로 수불에 춘용다데 고나가 요래 아니 산산을 다시 파도 고나가 요래 아니 다 고나야 그 규진 신다든데 담은데 여러 왔다고 지 내유디 지 가셔가지고 하고 오라 다 야야야야 레 대로도 아니 미 수수 미신다 고나가 스데스나 디스 고나가 소고도 먼저 산살 미가제 베디 녀르 냐냐스제 베 근데 삼루단단제 고나기도 하더라 디자 미디를 수수 파 미디 고나가 스여인지라셔서 그래서 디두 가르뇨에 레마제보다 되게 말했어 대와이 날에 동해 날에 그래서 디 베나도바 좀 된데 소 장매 싸고 되을래 아니 다 단계 좀 된데 다두게 된 디용야 돼 소나 망보 소 개와 망보 베데서 개와사 지바탄 소바콤 근데 집에 레그 드브레 마시지게 데 도마 좀 된데 갈레 마자와제 신다지 갈레 잠제 슝딘 조던데 개마레 세상 레 마체와데 미테스야 돼 네 테네레스와
Now we come to the next heading. You do not meet with karma you have not created. So we experience well-being and we experience suffering kind of on a resultant level in this life, but not all of those experiences are necessarily caused in past lives. Some of the results we experience in this life are created in this very life. So for example, in this life, if one does good actions, that can mature in this very life. In this very life that can be experienced. So we are going, but in another way also, currently every moment we are creating the cause to experience things as we go, for example, virtue and non-virtue, happiness and lack of it. Then there is the case that some of the things we do in this life won't be experienced necessarily in this life, but will be experienced in a future life. That's also the case in some future life or next life. And so, for example, if we give the example of a headache, to some extent, we might know the causes and conditions behind it. It could be dehydration, high blood pressure, or whatever. So we know that. But then it could be that who knows that others are upsetting us, but that in fact in the past we upset them, so that our headache is kind of like a result of that in terms of cause and effect. And if we look at the fact here that Shakyamuni Buddha, you do not meet with the karma you have not created. So Shakyamuni Buddha, over countless great eons, created the cause for the result, which was ultimate bliss and well-being, having created vast amounts of the six perfections, engaged in the wish to give generosity, ethics, effort, and so forth over a vast period of time, the result of which he experienced. This was not caused by others. So this also highlights you do not meet with the karma you have not created. Lassa.
세상다 레 마체보다 밑에 있어야지. 아니 레 마체보다 밑에 있어야지. 가두 테레서 레 가두 체레서 단다 테어도 빼나 단다 가란조데 단다 녜마 지시가 체로 메드리게 주가 체로 사람들데 년가 용체버디 레부지 차대로 따디 유제 가셔 먼저 하고 와 따디네 야야야로나 먼저 유지 된데 쌓여라 먼저 님도 인데 좀야 유지 쌓여라 다 레디 가두 쌓여래 간데 쌓여래 두 가두 쌓여래 내 가 쌓여래 사단 간데 쌓여래 쌓여서 신도 고주로 와 저선 세제 내 릭직 먼저 수수그 숨그 시험하던 야던데 요래 다디 시 tum니기 매직 요라 다 수신 거에서는 산지기 신거래 산지의 신은 다 산지라 아니 계절 되기나 산지나 아니 따따하고 그러다 나눠서 드링된데 님도 루치고 가야 돼 개와든 되질라 지 파줄래 담면람 탐자지 파줄 탐직 땅마 중내 체네 아니 멜레든데 멜람든데 잡 레든데 사 데와든데 차 든데데네다 드링데 중으로 해서 다디 야디 데비드 뇽심베가네 마음발라야 직 데와야고 용야라야 먼저 단다 차와치야래 쳐봐요래 단다이네 다지 데와도서 베디 파주 핀주 상매 사브로 당기 있네 네 저원에 알아서 파주야 고 추가 돌아야 지 레드링 체제 냠린 체 파주 지 시험받 마시험 바로래야 내주 jel렌시리 체도서 그래서다 야 저원에 저워주야래야 편도용 거로 와 세상에 인류다데 레마체보다 밑에서야 돼. 되래. 빼나 당하는서 신도고 유래에 가래라나 배차샤나. 나란서 계제다 되래와 계제. 나란 상만 제가던 거래. 나란서 수수지에 계제데 수수균 하고 오요 말다. 와. 다 하고니 미질라 계제 되고 되두 돈이 되두고서 돈이 쓰래. 다 저런서 맹간나라 계요나니 아니 나스나 멤버다 되저 딩자 슈구가나 바드 서티피케이트니 티제 티직대샤도 슈구가 다데 이지치고라 지금은 멤버 아니 소소 파마도 저다 하고 오라 파메스 군이 깨어인자 안 다왔던데 다 나랑서 팅자이나 개가스도 개좀 쉬우지기도 그래서 엄마 별로이나 파마도 저 더니스야요 뭐라 가도 깨래라서도 간단도 깨래서야로 로사기 제도 아제르서 로상도 아제 싱가답도 제르서로 드네미지게 나와다 채와다 추저든데 라요 뭐라
Lassa.
딩상 야 나와다 채와다 추저인진데 라요로 이난 간주 수수하고 그래서나 고고요 말아 신이 고주사도 된다지 수수응에 쉬네 한마고치 미신지라 땡네 시고야기 내주지라 신이 고주사다 된다 지난 데를 대셔잡다 띵서고 가셔 요르데 당연히 코데웨시나 신이 남샤 차대 요레슬랜데 남샤도 망고지
Now, the point of not meeting that which you do not create the cause to meet, then the question could come, when will one meet with such results of the actions one has created? So if we give the example that some things are extremely hidden and difficult to know, the fact that I'm teaching now and Matt, the interpreter, is translating and you're listening, kind of receiving, to some extent, we know all of the causes and conditions behind this, but it's very difficult to know when exactly the causes for all of this were created, where they were created, how they were accumulated, how all of these causes and conditions come together. That's extremely hidden phenomena. We can't directly know that. And if we ask who can know that, Buddha can. So if you were to ask the Buddha, what are the causes and conditions behind this happening right now? He would say, well, this and this gathering and these kind of commitments and pledges and so forth. And due to our collective karma and prayers in the past, this comes to be. And in another sense, if we take care of these results that are happening now well and foster them, then they will deepen, and in the future, that will go from strength to strength over time, over long periods of time. If we deepen our understanding of the Dharma that we're going through now, we will benefit from that. So that's another notion of not meeting with the results you don't create the cause to do. And some things, they're just hidden, like hidden. So for example, our birth time, for that, we would have had to rely on the parents or the doctors and nurses that say, oh, you were born in such and such a time to get the birthday, isn't it? So it was kind of different in Tibet because we knew the month, but we didn't really know the exact time or even the day. We would say, oh, somewhere around just after New Year when the crops were planted. And so that would be the kind of the notion of the birthday. But these days you can know a kind of month and day, but for the exact time, you are dependent on others. You have to depend on others to know exactly. So some phenomena are very hidden in terms of this causality. There's some karmas.
le shiva di chewa chu misa sadre shiva drwa le chewa chu
Mhm.
misa da le chewa chu misa de le de gyawa chana dewu yong je gebe dewu nywa de yongres de migo chana dewu dunga nywa de yongres de ene doya yo mares de ko doya sanada gedi nyamne machini ji na ane dewu de nyongo yor da ngeba de nyongo yore 다이나야 최 냠린 체베 떡이 코 가서래 딕벨레지나야 아니 메워서야 요래 다 요래 게벨레지나야 나들의 숙처로 다 요래 공배 다 요래 냠린 체벌 되네 제산 디인디 데 간다 데부 데두지다 레 겨와 체벌네 지당 체베이나 데부 레 겨와 체벌네 데부 용원다 대와용야 le mingi wachine dugu dunghe da yi mo dila yi wonda mo ngi debu chadwa yi mo se de ngaranzo da yakbo jik yi dunga yakbo jik yonda ma yansa derwa da yakbo yon ma yansa de gewe le chema jil duware dugu yon ma yansa de mingi le debu chadwa yores chezan di ne chewa chu sak ma res da da debu di yungu yores ne wadi shegora.
The next point is that karma you have created does not dissipate or go to waste. So for those that are doing non-virtues, then suffering will be experienced and well-being coming from virtuous actions, that is there, Gedik, virtue, non-virtue respectively. So this means that if you're not akin or not practicing Dharma, one has to experience it. It does not get dissipated. For a Dharma practitioner, however, the non-virtues we have done can be purified, countermeasures can be applied and the virtues can in fact be accumulated and increase. So we talk about yidong dongmyong, where the good results come about or not. This is this notion of one has created the cause and it doesn't go to waste.
Chewa Pakdo lesson, Tamsin Namji Gidda, Jimbalination power mass, Chuji Chumi Sawada, Machebadan Temison, Chesa, only Tamsin Namji Gawata, Digwe ladies, Jimbatanwala, then double lonjo on Yatan, and the day Gores, Jimbaltanwala, lonjo on Yadi Chumi Sawares, Chesa, Jimbamadamba, lonjo on Yadin de Yomares, and le Machebadan Te Yomares, Karzana. 아니 공원에 니즈리 스페나 가르스나 가서 메도다 추다 류다도서 자진 사반위에 디제 님도 주 태고다 디제 님도 주 태네 아니 메도 제기도 추다 류다 디제 주 태고다 디제 마데나 데우 메도 연구면도 다시 가라서 디베 미게와지나야 미게베 레기 데우 디제게 텔데네 연구래 개와지나야 대와지나야 코 아니 게벨레지다 태고에 게벨레지다 마데바 데우데와 조야요 말에 미게벨레지다 마데바 데우 동에 조야요 말에서 어디 마제바다 테메송사데 파도나 데 송도 아치와 파도나
The verse to support karma you have created does not dissipate from the praise of the exalted one. It says Brahmins maintain that they can transfer virtues and bad actions as though giving and taking them. You said that what is not done won't vanish. What is not will not be met. So if one engages in giving, then wealth will necessarily result because on a causal level, this has not gone to waste, and commensurately, if you don't give, then poor is the result. This is a reality of this heading. If we look at the example of the flower, if the commensurate causes in terms of the seed are there, then the maturational result of the flower, all of those causes and conditions meet and come together with the result. And on a resultant level, for suffering to come to be, there has to be the coming together on a causal level of the non-virtuous action, and all of the other conditions. And also in terms of bliss and well-being, the virtuous actions on a causal level, and they have to meet with all the other these supportive conditions. Nas.
Tiang Chena Rewa Mingurumi, Shinji Chewa Sowa Juamis. Tiang Chena is Lady Chena, Lady Devudi, and Yungurimishi, Mayomba Chad and Dega Yomares, Devudi, Legawa Chena, the Rangi Yunguris. That Mi Shinshigi, Rua Shinshigi Cheve Leg Devudi, Susu Nua Yoris and Yomares, Rangi Cheve Leg Devudi, Rangi Yunguri, Rangi Rekugurimishi, Mi Shinji. Cheshan Jog lady, Shinji Chewa Sowa Jua means the Shinji Le Cheshan Jodi, and Rana Yon Shed and Deke Yomare, Rangi Le Cheshan, Rangi de with Yongo Yores, the Dunyo, the Le Chewa Susun Yongo Mishige, and Mishingi Dung Le Sashan Jodi, Susun Yoat Deke Yomares, Susu Seshan Jodi, Susu Dungi Yoadis, Nga Susu Le Chesha was the Tego. Susu Deva Tanda Deva Digio had a Gawache was the Tego or did Casore, de leg Debury Meshige, Shinji Station, Judges, Yonsha, Deke Mares or this Ungora.
So the next citation from the King of Concentration Sutra highlights that plus you cannot not touch your deeds. What others did, you will not feel, meaning that if you create virtues, the well-being will be experienced by you, not by other. So your karma, in terms of the cause, is the result you will experience. It's the same with non-virtue. If you're suffering, you created the cause for that. Others did not. So your results or your experiences are a product of your causes, not from otherness.
다 롱네로와 도와 옹리니로와 레나 개와 자야나 스타 레게 아니 데부세야 개와 자든데라야 미야든데 용거레스 추미사신 초단투스 코 레스니디 데우미야스니데라야 아니 데우미야디 추미사와요레스 코 유조 장상 규게 규데다 레데 데우미야게 규데 초디 투다 아니 딘데지 니운데 아니 데우드인데 류젠나라니 데우드하던 주로네 류젠 세대다 코발라 하던 요르스 거라가서 코발라 레된 요르스 거와 도저야 네 단다 레 춘주지 사션 요데 데우드 겨워들 머니나 겨워치마 겨워들만 겨워자 tindelaya ni ko juzo su miu du ni le go chinju she de di na de la mi do gore ne de mi ge wa chinju she de di na ya ani juzo transan su cha yon du gen de te yon du ani de du ngi nyong ga de cha do go yo re se oda de ge wa jag na la ya de mi de yo re sta ta do zo je ro ma chin long kong tang de wa che san de zo long la de ne shen go ro ma shi ji gang zo 수수료가 더다 아니 줌제나 되는 신야든데 이게 요 말에 베나다도 롱랑 산제 킹거 요르와 킹게데 다당한 수수제가 신이 나신데 산제 차대 요르와 산제데 다 주주든데 질라 레든데 질라 네든데 질라 든데 레든데 우든데 미샤스데 산제 냐지 킹거 요인자 롱콩도가 줌제데 레스타
That's Now, Lama Tsongkhapa cites the basis of scriptural transmission. Karmas do not go to waste even in 100 eons. When they find the time and prerequisites, they become effects for beings. Likened to water, a drop of water merging with the ocean and not being lost, that such actions not go to waste and can be experienced this life, future life, or 100 lives. Indeed, until those actions meet with the commensurate conditions, they do not go to waste. As it says here, even for up to 100 eons, karma is not going to waste also means that until the cycle of existence is exhausted, what Lama Tsongkhapa here is citing is Shakyamuni Buddha's source, because Buddha can see with omniscience the maturational result or not of karmas, and only a Buddha can see that. So Lama Tsongkhapa is recourse to scripture here in this Buddha citing.
어디 렌데 지삼주데 와 렌데 지삼주 ngoyde 렌데 지 남샤 삼주데라 아니 레게와다 레 페체와다 레 마체바다 메디 체와 추미사사데 다디 두유 람링게 냠레 치디 subject 제데 삼당고레 레게베 추 레 페체와 레 마체바다 메디 체와 추미사사데 아니 subject 마 삼당 아니 디나라 튼다 삼당 아니 다당 가란주 디두 뇨야도 상말라다 지 동해다 강예지 테도 미지가 서래 시지지가 서래 스파조도야 말해 수수레게다 나게 여왕아메게 레데 여왕아메 미디 tundu디게 바 미신라 뇌바다 딘데체발라 되네 단다 연대오래 따이나 단다 동해뇨 여절로 여왕아메 레슬랍도 말해 단대게 수수기 겐 유단 겐라 요래와 단다 베나 예 coffee tung ma dung la ware wa coffee tung sna nga go na gra wa coffee tung da ma dung la wa yore nga go na ya coffee tung de ne go na ya de na ju ma ju de nga la onje de yor ta thanglo le gres na de ma gen da su su le ra khala kan za yor da ya de thanglo le ga re yu she ya ma su su le che yor wa su su la wa la gen da ju da gen se de gen de su su la wa le yor wa 다 딘데 수승원에 가져 야고 체직 제외에 톱자급자도 받다 직 도드메베 니즈도 자로든데 영야로든데 다 직직 대자 영야로든데 다 토자고 잘라 다치 가서래 수술라 지 소금만 되어 차로 근데 연구도 하러 다 도서 레게 되우라래 다 도서 레게 되우라래 다
Right.
이미 된대 간 상당 거다
So then it is important that we reflect on karma in the context of these four headings, that karma is definite, that it increases, that we do not meet with things that we haven't created the cause for or karma, and that it does not go to waste. So it's good for us in the context of our experiences, be they good or bad, happiness or suffering, to reflect on these generally, because this is under the heading of the general workings of cause and effect, isn't it? The general heading. We should reflect on them and not so much think when we go through difficulties, oh, it's someone else's fault, like pointing the finger or blaming. One could have created the cause to experience this, or one has, either by harming others or animals and so forth, which is not to say that everything that we experience when it's disagreeable is from past lives, because in this life there are many causes and conditions we have at hand, as it were. So, for example, if I drink coffee or not, that's my choice. And if I drink it and I get a headache, then I have a degree of a degree of choice over those conditions of direct experience. It's very important that we don't think or just put everything down to karma. And there are certain conditions we have kind of we can control. But there are certain circumstances we meet that seem to be quite difficult to reverse, like very unwanted circumstances where we get sick a lot, and those things we can't really have that much control over. And in those circumstances, we can say there is a cause, karmic cause there. Yes.
Oh yeah, 네, 좋아요, 왜 좋아.
Any questions?
온라인 좋으면 돼.
Online, offline?
온라인도 해. 니도 해. No questions. Oh yeah, Maury has some questions.
Yes, there's a note at the bottom of the page.
This Mac.
Hi, Mari. I'm listening.
There's a
Hey.
note at the bottom.
Okay, a note. Yep.
A note at the bottom of page 72 in the text, and it refers to the couple of lines above where it says, also those who enjoy the effects of the teacher's accumulation
Oh, yeah.
of an incalculable accumulation of merit do not need to accumulate all of its courses. However, they need to accumulate one part of them. Just wondering whether Geshe could elaborate a little bit on that or comment on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Murray. So the note at the bottom of page 72. Shakyamuni, apart from accumulating the collections of merit necessary for attaining Buddhahood, also spent, wait a minute, this is very small on my phone, time accumulating further merit, which he dedicated to the goal of his followers, may have all necessary conditions. Okay. Gishla dila tiwachik tu marila rwade te gyudan ge nangan za sagar wa di drebu yuna yang sangi chomden de ki sonam sape sonam mambu sabe kapla ki di ki jedun burwa di nganzo gechuk ki kola sonam di mulam japne gewe mulam sabarwa gewe mulam denzo tenenganzo enji menji gyul tene gyu tsangmala chegoga mare chachikla gewe ju chachikla sana digere tene drebo yongere onzo chesangi gyu di sagoga mare dikolatis labro gangs shego
안에 dombe 초탕미 와서고 되불라 주번 남기 장스라로
Yeah.
이
The thing on the yigi chung chung nang le yori. Then on the
티데레 단다 디당이 디시 세부랑 중에서 말하고 다다 dombe 다 dombe 좀 된데 깨진 담매숨 dombe 좀 된데 다 담매숨 서서 되부저와 되불라 아니 되부저 남기 시대 빼나 dombe 좀 된데 이제 다 깨진 담매숨도 서사지 아니 산지에 공부 터래와 다 dombe 좀 된데 이제 dombe 좀 된데 다 레단 까와이 얘기되게라 아니 dombe 좀 된데 다 님도 선함 사션 요디 되우지 뒤제신달이나 롱제 요레스로 먼저
yes.
먼저 차지 이나야 먼저라 디 롱제에 디 차찍기 유직 사고 그러면 시지게 규탐제디 먼저 사고 말아 규탐제 사는 먼저 산제 도로 세상 어디라고 요래
Okay,
규탐제 사고
okay.
말해서 그래서 차직 사고 그래서 차직 사고 가서는 먼저 dombe and devil long jig to us. Devil long jig, you charging on the Sona Masana on the devil long jig to Marwa as or this sugar. And the Domajonde, the Chaso gets a move sonam chick, Duja Chunyam in Lamang or Chevilara. Devil the long jig midi yelaya. Deal long jig, chag sonam chick sago your race. Sonam charging Masana, Domajonde, college action using on the nuance or the child or the day of Maris. Go be Domajonde, the house of a neg of the lang, on the Nimdolea. Dewaji chago or Dewaji we or what Dewaji you are the Latine, and Sonam is away, do we charge you in the and long jay, do long jay, cook up your ears or the shigora.
So what's in this context, the fact that Lord Buddha created merit for three countless great eons, this seems to be saying that because of our karmic connection with Shakyamuni Buddha, on a resultant level, that Buddha dedicated those merits for the students, that we can experience them, part of them, that we don't need to create all of them, means that because of our connection with Buddha, we can experience part of it. It doesn't mean, and part of it means that we don't experience all the results Buddha did, because obviously we haven't yet created the cause. But for example, Buddha dedicated, like grains of sand under his fingernails, that amount of merit for the students. But all of that, all of Buddha's result was through his great effort that he experienced. But us experiencing what we experience comes through our connection of being karmically related to Buddha. That's what that means. I hope that's clear. Sebo due.
Benatanda Aranzu, Tanda Chu to Edua, and the Chu table dinner, and the Simna Kawak and Dewaji Yungudwa.
Yeah.
Did Dewadi Daja Dumba Shaja to be any Sonamgi, Chashajik Chadayore, Jeremy Sonamgi Chashajik Chadayore. Jeremy and Daja Dumba Shaji, Sonam Yuzana Hijing on the Son on the Sanjay or on the Tendesa to Yamar.
Okay.
Did Yoya searching on the Mamelam Javinare, Chick Chair on the getting to Sonam Gavaj Shell Dinner on the David in Yungudwadi. Or this shaker,
okay, that's this. So now, what it means to be to in part, having created the cause in part. Obviously, we don't experience all, but for example, we're listening to Dharma now, and we get some joy and well-being out of that, some kind of bliss out of that, and really, that's a result in part of Shakyamuni Buddha's merit, of Lama Tsongkhapa's collection of merit. Obviously, we don't get it all, because the full result of that merit is the state of enlightenment that both Shakyamuni Buddha and Lama Tsongkhapa have. But due to our prayers in the past, we get it in part. Page 72 at the bottom, was it? 72, sorry.
It'll be plus 10 or something.
So if we don't have it, what's the heading?
It's under the 4
Oh,
points of karma.
It's just under the, you do not meet with karma, you have not created. That third of the 4 points.
Yeah, you're right, Murray. It's 72 and 73. Goes on 2, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it spends maybe 82, 83 or 70.
I just look for the heading.
Just look for the third heading.
Yeah.
You do not meet with karma, you have not created.
We don't know the page number. If anyone's got the book, they can look it up.
Allora, tu sei che ce l'ha. Anda. Da sebo chungs konso sebo yene mena mashi. Oh yeah. Yeah, right. Okay, thank you.
Page 31 for the Thanksgiving mandala.
Je me tentram rira ingini de kempande. Sange shinde me te jokon nanda shinga chepa shon.
Jetsun lama kunse rabden shing nam kaching me chokyo kya padam. Lo sang tempe dro me sang ki dro e mun sao tak tu ni gu.
Nichu chi tam guru ratnam
Due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme dual bodhicitta that has not arisen, arise and grow. Has arisen, not diminish, but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, by paying homage, offering, and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing, requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach, I now dedicate all to full awakening. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praises of best, by the victorious ones thus gone over 3 times, so that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the King of Dharma, Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma, practice and flourish. May the omens of obstacles be pacified, and all conducive circumstances be
complete.
Wish granting, wish fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. To the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Saviour of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path that is unification of emptiness and compassion. To the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who uphold the subduous moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Munjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honouring the 3 jewels, Saviour of myself and others, your disciples, please swiftly return. Relying on the 2 accumulations of myself and others in the 3 times, may the teachings of the conqueror, Losang Drugpa, blaze for a long time. And Lama Zopa's prayer. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratika Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings, through explanation and practice, you wore the armour of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make requests. Striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for all other living beings who suddenly departed to peace, what a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the 3 jewels, the great waves of bodhicitta and the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you,
Good
Matt.
night. Thank you, Geshe-la. Good night.